Hello, this is Eric with
Cheryl.
Cruising with Cheryl and Eric, and this is Cheryl. Tonight we're going to kind of relive our adventures on the Adventure of the Seas. We did a ABC Island cruise, Aruba, Bonaire and Curacao with them.
2019.
Yeah, December of 2019, and we were just reminiscing about it recently, and it's got a lot of personal meaning for us. So we figured, you know what, since we're already thinking about it, why not talk about it with all of our friends out there in YouTube land. So this is actually it was our second cruise on this ship, on the Adventure. Bless you.
Excuse me, thank you.
The first one, we did a New England and Canada cruise with a bunch of family members in April, May of that same year. And well, we'll talk about that cruise another time, but
and we'll compare the differences between the two
yes,
cruises.
Correct. So we hopped on board the Adventure. She was sailing out of Fort Lauderdale, and we flew down the night before, grabbed a hotel. Actually, if I remember correctly, we went to the Fort Lauderdale beach and found a brewery. And had some really good beers and some good munchy food, and just hung out. And the next morning, we get up, we take the shuttle over, and I don't remember there being any issues. Oh, actually, no. Embarkation was the smoothest experience that I had. Embarkation wise,
getting on the ship
up till that point. Now, since then, since the COVID, we actually had one better experience when we were getting on the Celebrity ship. But up until this point, what was it, like 18 minutes?
From
that we
getting
walked
to
in
the dock or the
walked
port,
in those front doors.
and
So I actually remember I set a stopwatch, just because that's kind of who I am. We got in. We showed our the passports, and bing, bang, boom. Next thing you know, we're walking up the escalator to get on the ship. It was seamless. It was like you couldn't have asked for a better experience. Now, of course, this was pre-COVID, so things were a little bit different as far as embarkation. We do as much of the check-in online days, weeks ahead of time as we can, just because I'm not good on travel day.
He's impatient.
Yes, I'm very impatient, especially like travel day. It's like, okay, I know the vacation's here. I want to start it,
You can equate that to like a kid on Christmas morning.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Although he's terrorist. He's just not good with crowds.
No, crowds, slow-moving people, idiots who stop in front of you for no reason.
Waiting for checked luggage, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. So
that's why we suggest going a day before,
right,
and going back home, if allowable, the day after.
Yes, yeah. So we get on board, and now our cruise routine now, post-COVID, is a little bit different. But back then, we went and we had lunch in the main dining room, because the Royal had the main dining room open for lunch. Got a drink, wandered around the ship. Did we get into? I think we got a door room or seat room.
Yes, we did. Yeah. And then we went and did the muster.
Right. Yeah. This was back in the days where at I don't remember if it was 3:45 or 4:30, whatever the time was. You actually had to get to your muster station, and it was on the outer deck, on the promenade level. I think it was deck 4, maybe. I don't remember exactly, but you got to find your actual muster station, and you stand there like sardines, and you have to wait. It was torture. Especially compared to the way they do it now, because you had to, every crew member is rushing you to your muster station. Come on, go. They shut down all the bars, they shut down the food, everything. You had to get to your muster station. You get there, you check in, and you wait for every other Tom, Dick, and Harry on the ship to get to their muster station. Once everybody's checked in, the captain comes over the
intercom.
In the Navy we called it the 1MC, but the loudspeaker, and welcomes you on board and does his safety talk, and then you've got, you know, your individual crew members there who are actually, you know, doing the try-ons of the life vest, the life jacket, and how to use it and all that. And you know, you're standing there, and you're in Fort Lauderdale, and yes, it was December, but it was still 80 degrees, and we're sweating. And
I wasn't.
Well, I was. I had brought 2 drinks with me, and I finished them both, and I'm thirsty. And yeah, it was torture. It was just torture.
Officer Cranky Pants.
Yes. And then we, you know, that finished, and the cruise actually began.
Yes.
And we love this. The Adventure of the Seas. She's not an Oasis class. She's one of the older, smaller classes, but 3,000 guests, 3,000-ish.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but she's still roomy. There's still a lot of things to do, a lot of activities, and a lot of space. On this trip, there was a lot of space, and we'll talk about that when we talk about our Canada New England trip. But I remember that first night we were. What was the name of the bar with the live band? Just past the casino, where they also did a lot of the trivia.
I don't remember.
Can't remember the name of it, but this one bar, we spent a good amount of time there throughout the cruise because they had really good live music, and they did all kinds of different trivia there throughout the trip. So we were at sea the first 2 days, and beautiful weather. A lot of time lounging at the pool, a lot of time in the casino, a lot of time in the solarium, a lot of time eating and just enjoying sea days. And we both really enjoy sea days, and we differ a little bit on this, but I would almost prefer no destinations and just float around for a week. Whereas, I mean, I do like the destinations, but I don't know, there's something, I would rather be on the water the whole time if I had my say.
But he doesn't, so that's that.
No, exactly. So then on the third day, we arrived. We actually did the ABC islands backwards. We did Curacao, and then Bonaire, and then Aruba. And so a little background. At this point, Cheryl and I had been dating for
I don't know, you tell
year and a half.
We started dating February of 2017.
And this was in December of 2019, so 2.5 years. Yeah. And we had pretty much decided at that point that we were going to get married. And this was the cruise that we decided to start looking for engagement rings. Just, you know, wanted to see what we could find in the Caribbean, you know, because Cheryl didn't want a white diamond. Cheryl wanted blue sapphire as the center stone for her engagement ring. So we said, all right, you know what? We're going to be in, you know, the Caribbean. Let's start looking at rings. So of course, we started looking on the ship on one of those first 2 sea days. And we found some beautiful rings that were, let's just say, not within our price range.
Well,
I'm not spending 5 figures. Just, you know.
I'm not worth it.
You're worth 9 figures, honey.
Oh, nice.
But on that ring, on a ring, no.
I wanted something that was going to be different.
Right. So we roll into Curacao, and what was our excursion in Curacao? We did a tour of the island, if I remember correctly,
yes.
right? Because we went to the.
No, we actually went on our own. We didn't have a.
No, we were in a tour group. Because remember, we were walking around that one school-like place.
Oh yeah.
So we did a tour of the island because we had never been to Curacao, and a lot of times when we visit a new island, we'll do a tour group, you know, a tour excursion. Excuse me, just to get some history, some culture, some background of the island, and Curacao, you know, beautiful island.
Yes.
The tour was really cool. We hit this one. I can remember what the museum was called. Was it the Museum of Curacao?
I don't know.
I can't think of the name of it. But
they had this stained glass.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Of the world.
Yeah.
It was a map.
Yeah.
For some reason,
right.
But it was absolutely
And
positively
stained glass,
breathtaking.
floor to ceiling,
Yes.
had to be 15 or 20 feet wide. Absolutely gorgeous. And what else did we do in Curacao?
That was kind of like it. And then we walked over the Lock Bridge. And we had lunch in that little downtown area.
Right. And then we went back to the ship, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because they told us about the locks and the bridge and how that.
No, that wasn't Curacao.
Are you sure?
That was in Williamstad, it was Aruba.
Hmm.
Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
I may be right.
Yeah, it happens once a year. So
That he'll admit it.
Correct. So then we go back to the ship. We have a great night on the ship. The next morning, we're in Bonaire. Now, if you actually look at a map, you'll see that the ABC Islands are like, I don't know, 10 miles apart or something. So we literally could have, left Curacao at 6 p.m. and arrived into Bonaire at like 6:30. But of course not. They go out and they float around for 12 hours and then they come back in. So we get off the ship in Bonaire, and we had a snorkel trip booked in Bonaire.
Yes.
And so we meet on, on the pier. Yeah, and we had a walk in. That the cool thing was that was the first time we ever got to see an Azamara ship, because I'd never even heard of the brand. But they were parked right next to us, and we had to walk right past the Azamara ship to get to our little the boat that was taking us snorkeling, and had a good time snorkeling.
Yeah.
Snorkeling. It wasn't like to die for, but it was good. It was fun. Water was warm. It was a beautiful day. We always enjoy snorkeling, so so we go snorkeling. That was like a half day. So we get off the boat, and we're walking back towards our ship, and there's like a little group of buildings, kind of like a downtown walking area sort of thing.
But they have like an outside craft fair type of thing too.
Yeah. So we're kind of wandering around, and my oh so amazing wife knows how much I love breweries, and I know I've told this story in other videos, but she sees a little one-story building, very plain, not like super fancy or schmancy or anything, and literally has a sign above the door that says brewery. So yeah, and it's like 1 o'clock. I don't think we got to be back on the ship till 5. But yeah, let's go sit down, relax, have a beer, and get back. We usually like to get back to the ship, give or take, like 3 o'clock. It gives us enough time to take a dip in the pool, maybe get a little afternoon snack.
Go through the line, getting back on the ship.
Right, beat that line, and and then get ready and have dinner, because we like to do early dinner at 5:30 or 6. So we're like, all right, plenty of time. So we go in the brewery, and we get in there, and there's nobody else in the place. There's the bartender and us. And so we sit down, and I start talking to the bartender about the beers, and they had 4 beers on tap. One was a stout. I don't remember what the second one was. Then they had a pale ale and an IPA. So I tried.
They also had a full bottle.
Well, full-ish.
Well,
they had like 6 bottles. But so I get my my IPA, and the bartender turns to Cheryl and says, "What would you like?" Cheryl's drinking vodka tonics at this point, so she says, "Can I have a vodka tonic?" And the look of puzzlement on this poor woman's face was absolutely hysterical. See, okay, I know what the words mean. I know we have vodka, and I'm pretty sure we have tonic. Can you help me? Well, we're like, sure, yeah. So she grabs a tall, skinny glass.
Like a Tom Collins glass?
Yes. Puts 3 ice cubes in it, fills it up about 2/3 of the way with vodka, and literally a splash of tonic.
Yeah.
And gives it to Cheryl, and Cheryl puts a straw in. Perfect. I'm like, oh crap, here we go. It's going to be a long day.
I'm a lightweight.
So we're sitting there, we're talking with the bartender, and it turns out she's one of the owners, and just having a good old time, just relaxing. A couple of other people had come in and out, but nobody was really staying. And then out of the back room, a young guy, 25, 28,
early to mid-20s.
Comes out of the back room pushing a baby stroller, and she introduces him as her husband, the other owner, as well as the head brewer. No, I'm not getting off topic. So he and I, at that point, I was an amateur home brewer, so he and I start talking beer. Cheryl, anytime there's a baby within 100 feet, she's good for an hour.
Or an animal.
Yeah, true. So we ended up hanging out there. I had 4 or 5 beers. Cheryl had God only knows how many vodka tonics.
Only 1 or 2.
And next thing we know, we look at our watch, and it's 4:45. We're like, uh-oh.
Yes.
So we go almost running, and we neither of us really run much. So we were fast walking. We make it back to the ship, literally at the stroke of 5 o'clock. But that was arguably one of my most fun days in a port, just because of the we didn't really have anything planned.
It was relaxed.
We met a great couple who were living the dream. They were from Amsterdam. They decided they didn't want to be in the hustle bustle of the city, So they came down to Bonaire because that's not owned, but governed by the Netherlands, so they could live there. They didn't have to emigrate. It was still part of the same country, and they decided to open a brewery. Just really cool. So anyway, so we go back to the ship. We had a good night. Next day, we get off in Aruba, and we did a land and sea tour of Aruba.
Yes.
Because we'd never been there. So
the open air bus.
Right. Well, we started out on a boat,
yeah.
and they took us around the island of Aruba from the water, so we could see all the different beaches and the hotels, and then we ended up at Eagle Beach, and we got to hang out at Eagle Beach for an hour. I thought it was like an hour.
Oh, it seemed very short.
A little while. And we hop on this open air bus, and they take us for a tour of the island, and we went up the hill to where the church is. Mm-hmm. There's a little church at the top of the hill. It's a Catholic church, and
Stations of the Cross amazing. On the way up.
Yeah, on the way up.
On the way up. Then we stopped at a lighthouse.
Right. Yeah, beautiful lighthouse. Like it's kind of like on every tourist, every excursion, you stop at this lighthouse.
And then we headed back downtown.
Yep. So they dropped us off basically back at the ship, and
we still had a couple hours.
Somebody had heard
I knew
a rumor that there was a Dunkin' Donuts on the island.
Listen.
So we asked like 10 different people where it was, and finally got good directions. It was literally a 1.5-mile walk away from everything else.
That's okay.
We finally get down, and we find it's kind of tucked into the back of this little shopping center.
Yeah.
And there's literally 2 other people in this Dunkin' Donuts.
From Everett, Massachusetts.
Turns out they're from, Boston. How far out of Boston is that?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. So basically people, from where Cheryl grew up. So we hang out, we drink our Dunkin' Donuts coffee, we get great pictures of these massive iguanas, and then we go strolling back. We've been hanging out on the ship with several other couples, and this one couple, Trish and Ryan, where they were walking towards us, and we stop and we start just talking, and Ryan's smoking a cigar, I'm smoking a cigarette.
Trish is like, did you get your charm? I said no. She's like, let's go in the store. So
we happen to be right in front of a jewelry store. Yeah.
But they give out free charms on certain islands. You get a coupon. They give you go in, you get a free charm. You
got to listen to their sales pitch, blah blah blah.
But they don't force you to buy anything. You can just go in. Some jewelry stores will actually do a passport punch. So they'll give you a stamp on your passport, which is fantastic. And then, so Trish and I went in to get our free charm.
All right, can I take over from here?
Yeah, sure.
So, and I only wanted to take over because Ryan and I are standing outside, and after 4, maybe 5 minutes, Ryan's wife, Trish, throws open the door to the jewelry store. Eric, you gotta come here. And I looked at her husband, Ryan, and said, I will bet you, Ryan, that I just bought an engagement ring. Lo and behold.
It was an engagement ring. Look at that.
Not only did I buy an engagement ring, but I bought a wedding ring too. Didn't I?
One and the same, really. You can't have one without the other.
So, yeah, we ended up, Cheryl found a ring that she absolutely fell in love with. Mm-hmm. And who am I to say no?
He does a lot, but
not with things like that.
No.
That
was part of the goal of the trip.
Right. So, ended up paying for it, and they had to size it, I think it was.
Yeah, they had to size it, which was sized within an hour.
Yeah, so we went and got had a drink at one of the local, Senior Frogs or whatever, and had some nachos, and came back and got the rings. And I told Cheryl, because we bought it that day, she would be allowed to wear it that day until midnight.
To show the friends that we had met.
Right, because we were hanging, Kevin and Tammy, and Ryan and Trish, and the 2 couples we had dinner with every night.
Shania and I can't remember.
Oh wow, names are escaping us. Anyway, so you can wear that, but then I was going to lock it away in the safe, to make sure it didn't get lost, but also because I hadn't asked my children for their blessing on our wedding yet, and I didn't want to come home and
blow
push this. Yeah, exactly. So
And I respected that.
yeah, she's still bitched. Well, I don't think I'm allowed to say that, am I? She was so unhappy when I asked her for the ring back at midnight.
I was. I'm not gonna lie, but it's okay.
So that was, and Aruba was actually amazing. Eagle Beach was just awesome.
It was pretty.
We had, that was a really good day. Then we had 2 days at sea, which, again, we love sea days. So, what?
Nothing. I'm thinking. Go ahead. I'm thinking.
All right. That was pretty much the whole trip. We got back, in the morning. We got off the ship and headed to the airport. I think we had like a 1 o'clock flight, or 2 o'clock.
Like late in the afternoon if we don't drive.
Yeah, we don't like to push it. As far as having like a 10 a.m. or an 11 a.m. flight, we try to do 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Yeah, there are times where we end up sitting in the airport for 4 hours, but.
Do you want to give a little history lesson on Aruba, Bonaire and Curacao?
No, not really. We're already at 21 minutes.
Okay.
So I don't want to make this video too much longer.
All right, we'll Google the ABC Islands.
If you ever get a chance to do, now I know a lot of the cruise lines now post-COVID are not doing as many stops in Bonaire. So a lot of times they'll do Aruba and Curacao or Curacao and Bonaire, but not they don't. Current itineraries that I've been seeing don't include all three. If you do get a chance to do all three,
just do it.
Yes, very, very. We would do that same itinerary over again.
Oh, absolutely. But we would also go to Aruba for a week.
Yes, yeah, we're actually planning on doing that.
We're leaving now.
Yes, see ya. The Adventure of the Seas, beautiful ship. When you're able to use the Lido deck, the pool deck. Actually, Royal doesn't call it Lido, but the pool deck. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of space. I never felt crowded on that cruise.
Well, that'll be a story for our next video.
Yes, then. Yes. Anything else you want to add to it?
No, I'm good.
All right. So that's pretty much it for tonight.
Have a great night.
Yeah, take care.